Okay, so it's been a really long month for alcoholics and conservatives. As usual, actual issues in this country are flying right under our radar, as everyone on the right spends an entire 2 weeks crying about cheap beer. Oh man, at least it's not M&M's this week. That's like less embarrassing, but it's still pretty bad. As if children's cartoons and Sam Smith weren't enough to cause these freaks to have a total meltdown, we now have Dylan Mulvaney, a TikTok star who I knew absolutely nothing about until just a few days ago. Usually the way I come at these sort of topics is by reacting to whatever Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh have been doing, but since the response to this ad campaign has been just so painfully loud, there are way more people talking about it. So I made my own TikTok finally. However long it's been, I just now made a TikTok account, so now I have one. If you want to follow me, here it is. And I did this because I thought it'd be fun to watch a couple TikToks from these angry patriots and really dissect what everyone's so angry about all of a sudden. So let's have America's Finest explain to us what they're so cranky about this week.
So I don't have much of a tolerance for alcohol. So when I drink, I normally drink this because, you know, it's pretty much water. But now I see BudLight, Budweiser, and sponsoring somebody I disagree with. So this, no more. See you, bud.
Somebody you disagree with? What do you mean? She's transsexual, that's it. You mean you disagree with her being transsexual? You're transphobic? Yeah, thank you. just say that next time. Dylan is literally the most harmless content creator I've seen, and she's getting all these fucking bloodthirsty replies, and it's all over Bud Light reaching out to her. Like, she didn't say or do anything other than what she was paid to do, which was advertise beer. Anyways, this is probably the smartest patriot I've seen all week, and I've seen a lot of angry patriots this week. I say that not because I genuinely think he's smart, but because there are so many people dumping out beer that they've already paid money for, whereas this guy is like, yeah, I'm gonna drink the last of this one, but then I'll stop buying these. You might as well enjoy what you already bought. It's so frustrating that like none of these people will admit that they're transphobic. Like they won't just flat out say it. Of course they're transphobic, like why else would this bother you? They're transphobic, but like they just won't admit it. I'll admit that I make plenty of Ben Shapiro videos because I fucking hate Ben Shapiro. But he'll never admit why he criticizes the civil rights movement every February. People like Matt Walsh are going to tell you that Dylan is the mascot for transsexuals and liberals and like anybody on the left, and that it was us who put her on a pedestal. But I'm sure a lot of you can relate when I say that I had no idea who the fuck this girl was until Republicans started their week-long meltdown about her. For the sake of this video, I decided to have a quick look at who they are and what they sort of do, and here's just a little bit of what I found. So Dylan is a 26-year-old content creator with a pretty big following. She's got 10 million followers. She's even had her face on a billboard in Times Square, which is hardly something to scoff at. And the content that she puts out seems to mainly focus around like makeup, fashion, traveling, fun stuff that doesn't really apply to me, but like I get it. Going through her channel, it's just really bizarre to think that this is the person that conservatives are so upset about. Well, like it's actually really in character for them, but you know what I mean. Like I said earlier, I made a TikTok so I could look for stuff to include in this video, and while I'm here, fuck it, let's just go ahead and hit that follow button. So here I am, a leftist who's never heard of Dylan Mulvaney, following Dylan Mulvaney as a result of the right talking about her so much. That's what advertisers call earned media. When you and me talk about how stupid the Szechuan sauce fiasco was a couple years ago, we're inadvertently talking about McDonald's, meaning they've gotten people to talk about them without having to do anything new, and that's the sole desire of their marketing team. No matter what your political leanings are or how smart you believe yourself to be, never forget that you are not immune to propaganda. Like, I don't enjoy Carl's Jr., but when they collaborated with One Piece, I ate their food for the first time in like a decade. The plastic cup was cool, yeah, the food, not so much. This next one is probably the hardest cope I've seen in a while, and that says a lot.
Anheuser-Busch, what were you guys thinking? Do you realize when people sit down to have a beer, they're having a beer with their friends? If they're their friends, they don't care if they're transgender. They don't care if they're black or if they're white, Chinese, straight, gay, whatever. They don't care.
Bro, you're on the verge of tears. It's hard to believe that you don't care when you're brought to tears by an ad. You definitely care. It's the same with all these people angry at Mr. Beast for defending his friend Chris. Like, plenty of these morons are saying, actually, we don't care about his gender. It's more about him taking a father figure away from his son. No, it's about his gender. You're angry about his gender. You're so transphobic that you've forgotten that children with two moms exist. It's just transphobia. That's all this is. Like, transphobia has become like a mental illness. How do you just not think of these things? Like, you always hear these same people talk about how like they don't care about race and gender, but when there's 2 seconds of a same-sex couple in a Pixar movie, suddenly alarm bells just start blaring in conservatives' heads and they start shitting their diapers because they just don't care. They don't care about these things. That's why they're crying so hard. They don't care. Like, seriously, why are you talking about these things so much if you don't care? There are plenty of things that you should care about, so why not talk about those issues? Which goes back to me saying that, yeah, it's because you care. You care an awful lot, clearly. Saying I don't care always seems to come before a long-winded rant about how Gonzo wearing a dress is on par with like Disney propaganda films from from World War II. Plus, it's such a cop-out. Like, imagine me making hours of content on like trans rights just to get called out by a big channel and go, well, I actually don't care about this stuff. It's not that big a deal. Like, clearly I fucking care. If you're gonna talk about something, then just own it. Why do you care so deeply about if other people judge you for your opinion? If you're gonna speak out, then be bold. Say it with your chest and make a point. Otherwise, it just comes off as whining. Now, Jordan Peterson is another big name in right-wing media, and something you always hear him say is that men need to be more masculine. Be a man, that type of garbage, right? Where is that attitude when the right is pouting over beer? You can't tell me to be a man while you line the inside of your jacket with hater comments. Yes, that's a real thing he did. So basically, you can't call me a pussy for wearing the color pink while you cry over a Bud Light commercial.
And what the worst part is, you put the person on a beer can right after a transgender male just shot up a school and killed 3 kids. Shame on you.
I saw a lot of takes and opinions on this beer fiasco this week, and this is by far the worst reasoning I've run into, and I keep running into it. What adds to how pathetic it is just how often it's being parroted by these freaks. If you were to use this reasoning in any other context, it'd be clear as day how brain dead this statement is. Well, a Mexican just shot up a school, and now we're supposed to celebrate Cinco de Mayo? How does that work? Evil exists in every group of people, which is why when someone commits an act of violence, we don't attack the group itself, just the individual. If we started attacking the group behind each mass shooter, then everyone in the US would be on trial. Because guess what, baby? The odds are not in your favor here.
Because all I see for you is a bunch of headaches and a bunch of bankruptcy on the way. Because the regular American out there that doesn't care about all this crap and just wants to have a beer is out there looking for another beer without stuff like this on their beer can.
Well, you're right about the headaches thing, but that's kind of on everyone's end, not just Bud Light's. Now, it's funny that he brings up the average American, because another response I saw to all of this was that Bud Light doesn't know their own demographic. I assumed that the demographic for a company that distributes beer would be the demographic of people who drink beer. Apparently I'm way off.
Folks, let's say that you were in charge of marketing Bud Light, a beer for basically poor white people.
Yeah, the only time Ben wants to stand up for poor white people is when their favorite beer distributor associates with one trans woman. One, just a single trans woman, just one time. Now, I didn't study marketing in school, but it doesn't take a piece of paper to realize that there's no such thing as bad publicity. The funniest part about all of this is that the guys don't even realize that they are the commercial. Like, I hate to be cynical, right? But do you honestly believe any of these woke brands care about anything other than profit? By partnering with a famous transsexual, they're appealing to Dylan's millions of fans, as well as any liberal consumers that might actually believe this marketing is genuine. So because all these right-wing influencers and their millions of brain-dead followers won't stop talking about Bud Light, they're receiving a free week-long endorsement without even having to aim their crosshairs anywhere near conservatives. I mean, sure, maybe Bud Light anticipated this sort of response, but even if that's true, it still goes to show you how advertisers have managed to make a science out of getting you to buy stuff. It's disgusting, yeah, but it's also kind of hilarious.
Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, it's changing my damn can to rainbow stars and pinks and stripes and ponies and what the fuck ever. Don't care.
Except you do care, Cletus. Like I said earlier, if you took the time out of your day to make a TikTok so you could go on this rant for all of your banjo-plucking followers, then you probably care about the rainbows and ponies. Also, speaking of rainbows and ponies on your Bud Light cans, by the way, let's talk about what Bud Light did to trigger this massive headache. On April 1st, Dylan did an ad that was sponsored by Bud Light. One of the cans they sent her had a picture of her face on it, as well as a personalized message, which I believe reads as, "Cheers to 365 days of being a woman." This was because Dylan was really happy about having transitioned a full year ago at this point. Now, this was enough to get Kid Rock to come out of the McDonald's playpen and unload on some Bud Light cans. Bud Light cans that he had already given Anheuser-Busch money for. Let me be dramatic here because I'm a dumb Dieter kid and I love to be dramatic, so just bear with me, right? No one, not a single person, nobody received a beer can with Dylan's face on it other than Dylan. So when Cletus or any one of his sister wives claims that this is all because of the rainbows on their beer, they're unintentionally telling you that they're incapable of doing research and believe whatever the fuck Tucker Carlson tells them to believe. Okay, hold on. So I was checking to see if Tucker Carlson actually talked about Bud Light this week, and yeah, of course he did. But I just need to be sure, and I found this clip from about 2 hours ago at the time of writing this. And please just watch this, right?
It's absolutely shameful, and she should feel ashamed that she brought this idea to Bud Light. But I do believe that she was conditioned. I mean, she went to Harvard. What do we think goes on? What do we believe is the sociology of people that graduate Harvard? They're basically being told that this is the way that they should think. And there's one more
Candace, you're shit-talking the school that your boss graduated from. Oh, man. If you're claiming that Harvard is telling people how to think, then you just outed Ben Shapiro as a drone. Oh my fucking god. I mean, yes, but you don't even realize that you're attacking your own side? Oh, man. Transphobia is a mental illness, I'm telling you.
Got a dude in a dress. Instead of having somebody like one of us, blue-collar people, somebody, a nurse, actual fucking girl, be on the can. Nope. You want that shit on the can, well, you ain't getting my money no more.
So I haven't been into politics for a long time. I wasn't always like this, you know? But one thing I've noticed is that the right doesn't care about something unless they can weaponize it. Can you seriously tell me that this guy watches women's sports? Are you telling me that Fuzzy Lumpkin's nephew here cares about female representation? Whenever feminists or liberals talk about the patriarchy or male privilege, Matt Walsh and his extended family here are the first in line to tell you that men actually have it harder because divorce rates and dangerous jobs, boo-hoo. But now that a transsexual woman wants to play ball with other women, now that a transsexual is getting a sponsorship, now you're here to stand up for women? Now you want to ban guns? Now?
And to top it off, they did this after the Nashville school shooting. That you done know what that person did in that school to those little kids and the adults. No, that's not cool, Budweiser. That's really not cool.
Again, like I just said, there's no care for something unless it can be weaponized. We live in a country where a boy became a household name overnight for murdering 2 protesters, who was also praised by a former president, acquitted on all charges despite the murder victims being completely unarmed. Yeah, that's totally fine. But when a shooter has a pride flag or preferred pronouns, suddenly we've got to ban all guns from all of these people and work towards eradicating them. Maybe we should claim that paying off student loans makes the trans community stronger. Maybe then we'd have a better chance of those loans getting erased.
So, you ain't getting my hard work money, you ain't getting no blue collar money. From what I see, you ain't getting nobody's money no more. Y'all gonna go broke. You ain't getting nothing.
Ah, the classic go woke, go broke response. So tell me, have any of these corporations gone broke since they made their profiles rainbow during June? The reason why this boycott is so hopeless and so annoying is because 1, Bud Light already has your money. You already gave them years of loyalty before all this, and 2, even if you got everyone to just stop buying Bud Light for like a week, that's a drop in the bucket compared to what they're already worth. $4 billion is nothing to these guys. I don't know what Matt Walsh is so happy about. It's the same way that boycotting Hogwarts Legacy made 0 difference. J.K. Rowling is already a millionaire. We already lost that fight, I'm sorry. But she already gets royalty checks worth way more than any of us will ever see in our lifetimes. But I mean, by boycotting Harry Potter, like, at least you're standing for something that matters. And since I'm sure you're dying to point out the double standard with Hogwarts Legacy here, let's go ahead and talk about that for just a second. Bear with me here.
I don't need no fucking spells to kill you, bitch.
Yeah! So Harry Potter is something that you're just familiar with. There's no fucking way you don't know Harry Potter. But did you know that the creator of Harry Potter doesn't much care for transsexuals? Like, that's a huge understatement, but for the sake of time, let's just leave it at that. Now, it's for this reason that when the Harry Potter video game was announced, thousands of people on the left thought it'd be a good idea to just boycott this game. The thinking process was that if we buy this game, then we're putting money into Rowling's pocket, meaning that we're supporting a TERF, which is not good. The issue with this boycott, however, is that it very quickly got out of hand. It went from I'm not buying this game to if you even so much as think of buying this game, I will not stop tweeting at you, ever. Look outside your window and I'm already there with a gun. Now, some people saw a VTuber announce that they were quitting shortly after playing Hogwarts Legacy on stream, so a bunch of her fans used that as an excuse to just be openly transphobic, but it turns out that she had already made plans to retire well in advance, and this really was just a result of bad timing. Now, did this stop a huge number of her fans from assuming that trans people made her quit? Considering that these are the same people that get outraged when black people cosplay as Japanese characters, what the fuck were we expecting? Another thing that happened was Ben Shapiro calling Hassan a coward for saying that he's not going to be playing Hogwarts on stream, which, I shit you not, that's how I found out about Hassan. Obviously, I've heard about him, I've had commenters say, oh, you probably watch a lot of Hassan, don't you? And until Ben talked about Hassan, I had just never watched Hassan content, but I immediately started after that. So thanks to the Daily Wire, I now follow Dylan Mulvaney and Hassan. I can't wait for the next person they decide to get angry at, because clearly they get angry at nothing but cool people. Now, the real reason that this boycott was doomed from the start is that Harry Potter is 20 years old at this point. The series has already gotten several video games, it already has a corner of Hot Topic dedicated to selling just their merchandise, and it's already printing money as a result of Universal Studios. I don't even like Harry Potter, but I want to go there because it just fucking looks cool. I don't know, man. With that being said, however, by not buying this AAA game, you're not going to hurt J.K. Rowling in any meaningful way. I'm not saying you're stupid for not buying the game. I mean, if you don't like Harry Potter, then why would you buy the game, right? But if you're not buying this game specifically because of the boycott, you're not really doing anything, unfortunately. As I mentioned, she's already receiving royalty checks regardless of what you do, so you might as well just enjoy a dumb wizard game if you really want to try it. Like, it's not gonna hurt anybody, I promise. And for everyone on the right who thinks that the failure of the boycott was like a win for transphobes, my brother in Christ, there's a transsexual character in the game. You can't say go woke, go broke, and then brag about the financial success of Hogwarts Legacy when there's literally a transsexual character in the game, dude? So how does this tie into everything that's happened this week? Well, here we are again with a corporation that's thriving regardless of if you buy their product or not. Here's an appeal to the LGBTQ purely for the sake of bringing in more consumers, and here's more earned media as a result of so many people bitching about it for so long. Now, in my mind, what justifies the left, however, is that they're angry about something that genuinely matters. Say whatever you want, but the left is angry because people aren't being treated fairly and they think that's not good. Whereas these people just want Dylan to be cast into oblivion because she's different to them. Now, what's my take? What's my opinion? How do I feel about all this? Fine, I'll tell you. I don't drink beer, and I always fell asleep trying to watch Harry Potter movies growing up, so literally nothing has changed for me. All right, and thank you for sitting through another one of these with me. Thank you to Disdain for continuing to pledge to my Patreon. Really appreciate it, brother. If you'd like your name in the outro just like him, then consider supporting me on Patreon for $3 a month. It really helps out a lot. I'm usually really late to current events, but that's mainly because I think it's better to let things play out. That way I can talk about it confidently with all the facts, rather than having to speculate or predict what I think might happen. Plus, I hate to break it to you, but I just can't do these in 2 days. Like, I'm just not that skilled, sorry. And now that I finally have an account on TikTok, like I finally have my own account, right? I don't have to watch these things through Twitter. I think we can start running through more MGTOW content, so if that's something you'd be interested in watching, then be sure to subscribe so you know when that happens. Anyways, thanks for watching until the very end. I appreciate it very much, and I hope to see you again soon. Peace.